See that building behind me? That is the International Court of Justice. No, I don't have to go in there. Well, not yet anyway. But while we're in town, let's take a look around, see what kinds of interesting things we can find as we explore The Hague.
Well, we might not be going to court just yet, but they do have a historic prison. There's actually lots of cool history around here. We'll see the art too, and even stroll through Chinatown. Now, before you ask, yes, there will be food along the way, as well as something to wash it down with. So get ready to see firsthand what makes The Hague such an interesting city. There is quite a bit to see in this town, so how about we get things started off with a bit of breakfast? I highly recommend you try one of these pancakes while in town. This one seems to be stuffed with veggies and meat. Take a look at those peppers in there, along with mushrooms, onions, and ham. What a tasty combination. These things are pretty amazing, but if that's not your style, there are plenty of other options around too, like this avocado toast with salmon, or some eggs Benedict. Now, back to that elegant looking building you saw in the beginning. Commonly known as the Peace Palace, it houses the International Court of Justice. This neoclassical structure was inaugurated in the year 1913. The visitor center out front treats you to a history lesson involving law and order and how disputes can be handled between countries. The court itself is composed of 15 judges elected by the UN. They say that the Peace Palace also features one of the most enormous libraries in the world. But if you want to see the interior of that magnificent palace itself, well, that's going to require a special tour. And we've got a lot more of The Hague to see. Heading south from that Peace Palace, we pass by a statue of Prince William I on horseback. Just across the street, we have a palace that currently operates as the workplace of his descendant, King William Alexander. Over the years, it has provided stays for famous people such as Voltaire. Now, I don't think the king is up for visitors at the moment, so we're going to keep on moving. Now, just take a look at this massive medieval structure. This is the St. James Church. With construction beginning in the 14th century, it happens to be one of the oldest buildings in The Hague. And notice that tower right there? They say from the top of it you can get a great view of the surrounding area. What you see next to this large urban pond is the Binnenhof. This lavish castle was constructed in the 13th century and was at one time a residence for the Counts of Holland. Over beside of us we have a statue of Johann van Oldenbarnevelt, a revolutionary statesman who helped the Dutch acquire their independence from Spain. Unfortunately, he ended up in that prison I mentioned earlier. Now that castle over there, it seems to be currently under a bit of restoration, so we can't go in to have a look around. But this bird right here, well, it seems to be enjoying the view nonetheless. Right next to that castle, you'll find the Moritz House. This museum houses a royal collection of many notable works of art, including Vermeer's Girl with the Pearl Earring. I'll focus more on Vermeer in an upcoming video. But just north of that museum, we have a monument to Johann Rudolf Thorbecke, who was the author of the Dutch Constitution. And this monument you see over here, this one is dedicated to Prince Karl Bernhard, who served as a commander in the Napoleonic Wars. It was unveiled in 1866. Now we find ourselves arriving at the M.C. Escher Museum. It is situated inside a historic manor that once served as a palace. It is said that many famous people have stayed in this one too, including Napoleon. Now, let's take a look around. All throughout this place you will find an elegant interior. There are lavish displays around every turn, even interesting pieces of furniture too. And of course, you will learn all about the man himself, the tools he used, and the works he created. M.C. Escher is well known for mathematically inspired illusions and interlocking figures that flawlessly morph into completely different things. You may even notice the carpet in here seems to reflect upon his work. There are plenty of other fine examples too, and this also includes something referred to as impossible objects. As you wander your way through here, you'll also encounter some interactive displays too, including art that involves reflections. and take a look at this amazing illusionary piece. Any way you look at it, this museum is definitely worth a visit. Now I know most of you have been wanting to see that old prison. Well, I've got some bad news for you. They have a very strict policy of no video. But the inside, it's something you really need to see firsthand anyway. I definitely recommend you adding this to your list when you visit The Hague. Now, if you venture on into the area just south of that prison, you may start noticing these red lanterns. Yep, you have now found yourself in Chinatown. This festive environment is full of culture, including cuisine and shopping. It was established in the 1970s. Prior to that, it was formerly the Old Jewish Quarter. And one hidden gem near this part of town that you gotta seek out is a statue of the Jewish philosopher of the Dutch Golden Age, Baruch Spinoza. And just over to the side of him, that is the house where he lived. Yeah, I know, after all that walking around in search of interesting sights, I guarantee some of you are gonna need a drink. And there are plenty of places around to do that. But of course, if you've worked up a hunger, you've really got to try some of the bitterballen while visiting the Netherlands. Just dip it in a bit of that spicy mustard sauce, and watch out, because these things can be hot. Just look at that steam. Now, if that quick stop for a beer and a bite didn't satisfy you, The Hague definitely has some really amazing steaks. Some of the best you'll ever have. But it's not hard to find a burger in this town either. There are plenty of other culinary delights around too. And yes, that does include sweets. Now, I think it's time for a hotel review.
All right, so I just checked in here at Hotel Tribe in The Hague. Let's take a look around.
As you can see, this is a pretty spacious room, and you've got to check out this view. Just a couple of blocks away from the train station makes this hotel a super convenient location. The bar and restaurant, they were great too, so I'll be rating this one very pleasant.
Now you may be asking yourself why I chose The Hague anyway. Well, this is actually a great place to base yourself for all kinds of other interesting day trips to locations all over the area.
You got that right, and Den Haag Centraal makes for easy transit. Hey, you know what? Be sure you subscribe to this channel, because in upcoming videos we will visit other interesting locations, like Delft. We'll be strolling around in historic Leiden, having some crazy times in Utrecht, venturing to Hague to sample the cheese, and exploring inside the walls of Amersfoort. All this certainly does help make The Hague a great place to base yourself for adventures all over the region. And for such a big modern city, you will find that this place is packed with a huge amount of old world charm.